Hello and welcome to the Before You Were Born. Today, we're taking you on a journey through the music, TV, and movie world of the 1970s. During this era, talented siblings took the stage and screen by storm. Let's dive into the stories of these gifted families together. In the 70s, sibling musical groups were all the rage. Between the Osmonds, the Bee Gees, Sister Sledge, and the Carpenters, there were family music groups at every turn. But it wasn't just singing siblings that were rising to prominence. Judy and Audrey Landers were known for being sisters and actresses. The Smothers Brothers were a comedic duo, and Virginia and Grace Kennedy were twins famous for having their own language. In this video, we'll explore how these siblings came to dominate the entertainment industry side by side. The Osmonds were a group of male siblings who reached the height of their success in the early 70s. Their sister, Marie Osmond, also became well known for her career as a solo artist and for her duets with brother Donnie. Donnie and Marie were so adored that they had a variety show that lasted until 1979. The siblings made a comeback in the 80s, this time honing in on country music as opposed to soft rock. Donnie and Marie ended up pursuing solo careers and even had a Vegas residency for over a decade in the 2000s. John and Chuck Panozzo are the brothers behind the famous rock band Styx. John was on the drums while Chuck played bass, roles that they had from the time they were kids. The brothers formed their band alongside lead singer Dennis DeYoung when they were barely teenagers. The band rose to stardom in the mid-70s, with hits like Lorelei, and has had continued success ever since. Ann Wilson was the first to join the band Heart, which was at that point called White Heart. A few years after Ann became the lead vocalist, her sister Nancy joined in on guitar. The sisters must have been the missing ingredient, because a year later, the band rose to stardom. Their 1976 debut album was a major success and featured hits like Crazy on You and Magic Man. Their success continued through the decade, and by 1978, Heart was performing alongside major players like Aerosmith and Santana. The Hudson brothers were still teenagers when they decided to join forces to become a trio in the early 60s. Just a few years later, they had hits like When I'm Gone and were touring with musical giants like the Supremes. It wasn't until the 70s, though, that the Hudson brothers reached the pinnacle of their success. After appearing on the Sonny and Cher Comedy Hour in 1974, the brothers were offered their own variety show. Their television success gave rise to a string of successful hits and albums before the group split in the 80s. Unlike many of the other musical siblings on this list, Ronnie and Donnie Van Zant went their own paths. Ronnie was the lead vocalist and founding member of Lynyrd Skynyrd, while Donnie was the lead vocalist and guitarist for 38 Special. Due to health issues, Donnie retired from his band in 2013 after more than 4 decades of being a member. Ronnie, on the other hand, passed in 1977. That's when their third musically inclined brother, Johnny, took over as the lead singer of Lynyrd Skynyrd. Judy and Audrey Landers were both popular actresses in the 70s. The eldest of the two, Audrey, made her on-screen debut as a child when her country music talent led to a performance on The Merv Griffin Show. She then landed a role on The Secret Storm, but she would become most well-known for her later role in Dallas. Judy followed in her sister's footsteps, making guest appearances on major shows like Happy Days and Charlie's Angels in the late 70s. The sisters later collaborated on 90s children's shows The Hug-a-Bug Club and The Treehouse Club. Philip and Nancy McKeon got an early start in their careers when their parents got them into a modeling agency as toddlers. Philip joined the cast of Alice in the mid-70s after the title character spotted Philip in a Broadway performance when he was just 10 years old. Similarly, Nancy was noticed in a Hallmark advertisement and thereby selected for a role in Facts of Life. Both siblings went on to have successful careers in Hollywood and even worked on the 90s film Teresa's Tattoo together. Lindsay and Sidney Greenbush are best known for their shared role of Carrie Ingalls in Little House on the Prairie. The identical twins took turns performing in the show, and their older brother, Clay Greenbush, also acted in a few episodes. Prior to their breakthrough role as Carrie, the sisters appeared in a made-for-television film called Sunshine. In 1983, Lindsay landed a guest starring role in Matt Houston, while Sidney scored the lead in Hambone and Hilly. After filming some commercials, the girls quit acting. Duane Allman and his younger brother Greg formed the band The Allman Joys in the mid-60s and were discovered by a recording executive in 1967. When their first two albums flopped, the brothers split for a short while. When they came back together, they formed the Allman Brothers Band, a group that included several members they weren't related to. They rose to success in 1970, touring all over the country and making a highly profitable live album. Gladys Knight made her screen debut at the age of 8 when she performed on Ted Mack's original Amateur Hour. The same year, she formed a band with her brother, sister, and cousins, called the Pips. Though Gladys and other members left the group before its financial success, the lead singer returned in time for the group to take off. Meanwhile, her brother, Merold, remained a steady band member. The group excelled in the 60s and eventually landed a deal with Motown Records. Under the name Gladys and the Pips, the band became widely successful through the 70s and into the 80s. Cornelius Brothers and Sister Rose was a soul group formed in 1970 that consisted of siblings Carter, Eddie, and Rose Cornelius. In 1972, their sister Billie Joe would also join the band. Rose had already experienced success as a member of gospel jazz singers when she formed the group with her siblings. Their 1971 hit Treat Her Like a Lady peaked at number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 and was certified gold. After a handful of other hits, the band split up in 1976. In conclusion, the 1970s were a golden era for talented siblings who took the entertainment industry by storm. Whether in music, acting, or comedy, these brothers and sisters proved that talent indeed runs in the family. Thank you for joining us on this nostalgic journey. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more fascinating content from before you were born.